It's just for our nerves to get relaxed, absolutely, so that we're in the moment. My simple, humble submission, if you could put your mobile phones on silent, please, that'll be amazing. If everyone can please do that. So if you could just hear me now, 5 breaths we are going to take. We're going to inhale to the count of 6. And just for easy reference, I'm going to actually speak it loud. I'll say inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 2, 3. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I'll just say this once. You kind of will be with me, and then I won't say it again, and then 5 breaths we have to do, but I'll keep saying something. It'll be more like a guided inhalation and exhalation. Just imagine every time when you're inhaling, there is absolutely healing white light which is coming from your crown chakra from top and actually covering the entire body. All the energy centers are being covered there. And when you're exhaling, all your worries, fears, anxieties, anything that is dis-ease in the body or in the mind is getting out of your system. So 5 breaths we'll begin now. Inhale, and please, if I can request all of you to close your eyes. It will just take maybe maximum a minute. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 2, 3. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 2, 3. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 2, 3. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Again, inhale. This is the 3rd breath. Inhale as deeply as you can. As you're inhaling, there is white healing light. You're completely covered in that balloon, white balloon light. All your worries, all your anxieties, stresses, fears, discomfort is all getting out of your system as you exhale. Once you're fully exhaled, inhale again. This is the 4th breath. As you're inhaling, imagine deep white healing light. You're completely covered, submerged in that white light. You're absolutely relaxed in the moment. Exhale now. All your discomfort, worries, fears, anxieties, anything that is not needed right now is exiting your body and system right now. Relax, you can open your eyes. I hope that was a bit calming. Wonderful, wonderful. So on that note, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is truly a pleasure to have all of you here as part of the Raga event. As Raga suggests, ripples of awareness, growth, and aspirations. Awareness at for any deep change or transformation to take place, awareness is extremely essential. Awareness about self, awareness about others. And on that note, awareness propels us for growth. Now, growth further fuels us and takes us towards fulfilling our aspirations. Every action that we take, small or big, it has a cascading effect on not only people around us, but overall the entire ecosystem that we are in. On that note, I would now like to welcome and introduce, it's my honor to introduce our next guest speaker, Mrs. Sandhya Mathur, who's the CEO, yeah, please, let's have a big round of applause for her. She's the CEO and co-founder of Inward Focus. She brings with her over 20 years of coaching experience in enhancing emotional intelligence and executive presence. She has actually got thousands of coaching hours under her belt. She has coached countless professionals to bring out their true potential. She's also delivered numerous innovative tailored programs for multinational companies, Fortune 500 companies, and aspiring coaches, which has created and impacted globally. In addition to the remarkable professional achievements that she has, she's deeply inspired and passionate about the world of gardening. She actually, being amidst flowers, being amidst nature is something which is her calling, inner calling. She actually gets deep insights, deep learnings, a lot of times when she's in her garden. She also takes the passion one step further by gifting pots and plants to her near and dear ones, families, and friends. Also, she volunteers to beautify the balconies of her loved ones with vibrant greenery and growing baskets. She also has a very special surprise announcement to make today, so please stay tuned for that as well. Without wasting any more time, I would now like to give a very, very warm welcome to Sandhya, who can now come and take the stage from here. Thank you for being here, Sandhya.
Thank you so much, Rohit. Feels really good. And thank you so much. So yes, the surprise is not baskets, and the surprise is not plants. And yeah, the love for nature is such that all my metaphors in coaching come from there. That's where all the inspiration comes from. So thank you everyone for being here. And I would love to ask something here. How are you all feeling today, each one of you? If we could have some participation. Right now.
Now that I have coffee, I'm a lot more energized.
Perfect. Perfect. Energized.
So let's try and speak so loudly that we don't need to give the mic.
Yeah.
We'll still hand it over on a lighter note.
So energized, you feel, sorry? Curious. You're feeling curious. Inspired. Fantastic. So inspired, energized, curious, fantastic. And what are the thoughts behind that curiosity?
What next?
What next? What about you?
Different people learning about their journey it's really inspiring.
All right, fantastic. Pradnya, energized. And when you say energized, it's the culmination of a thought process, or what are you thinking when you're energized?
Very open. Sharpness, focus. I'm beginning to fade after the mornings. All good.
Of course. I know. I understand. We all started out early. Yeah, absolutely. Anything else? This part of the room.
I'm feeling very blessed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Can we, blessed? Can
Like,
you,
I'm able to move, breathe, and visit here, meet so many people, and learn more. So when I'm learning, I feel more blissful. And in this moment, when I'm meeting so many people, and it's inspiring, motivating to learn so many things, and through the experience of various people, I'm
Fantastic.
feeling blessed.
Oh, wow. Blessed is coming from feeling inspired, blissful, and so much more, and motivated, right?
Yeah.
I wonder what, it's so beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, through learning experiences,
Yeah.
you feel more motivated and inspired. That is the reason
Fantastic.
I'm feeling blessed.
Fantastic. So yeah, sure.
To add to that, blessed from a very different perspective.
Of course.
I just came in last night after 4 days in Ayodhya, Banaras, and the Kumbh. So blessed in a very different. I'm tired to
Yes,
answer the.
yes.
But yeah, just being there with those millions of people, and each on their journey of discovering whatever they want to discover.
Absolutely.
Was very, very overwhelming. But also a lot of gratitude and feeling blessed that I was able to go on that journey, also be a part of the experience and be there.
Beautiful.
So, blessed, but in a very different.
That experience, feeling blessed, and the motivation to be here in spite of being tired, right? Fantastic. Anything else?
I'm
Yeah.
feeling relaxed, especially after the deep breathings. And I feel, I'm in the space of being rather than doing, on a daily
wow.
basis. We are in the space of constantly doing something in our jobs. But today it's more like being together, being here, and just being in the learner mode to absorb.
Lovely, lovely. So that's a room
Yes.
full of awareness. Yes, please.
Feeling very grateful, having a lot of gratitude because I saw you online,
Oh.
on that session of Inward Focus. And I didn't realize I'm going to meet you all face to face so soon.
I'm honored.
So,
Thank you.
so I'm really excited to learn more about what I think you and all the others have to share.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Let's
you.
connect after this. Thank you. Please.
I'm feeling confused.
Wow.
And the
I love
confusion-
it.
The confusion comes from the choices. So whenever
Yeah.
in life you have more choices, you will have more confusion. Whether to be in that room, or to be in that room, or to be in this room. So that's a constant confusion which is happening.
It's
a
a
good
very
confusion.
good confusion.
Actually, I was confused even more because I had a session today in the morning, and I actually preferred this. I rescheduled that. But that confusion is constantly being, there. So currently also I'm confused.
I completely understand, and I'm sure the women in this room can empathize with you. This is what happens when we open our wardrobes and say, what should I wear? Right? There wa- Sorry?
And
Okay, okay. Yes, yes.
okay, so I'm really excited to be here because I just finished with my CLC program, and I'm not sure. Obviously, nobody knows here, but Sandhya is my mentor. So I'm just happy.
For her credentials. And
I'm happy. I'm curious, and I'm happy to be here. So it's been
thank
a
you.
big
Thank you,
opportunity
Lanisha,
for me.
so much for traveling all the way to.
And I'm from Nagpur, yes. So I'm
Thank
here
you.
for this event.
Thanks, thanks.
Yeah, hi. I'm in a very neutral state, neither feeling blessed nor confused nor anything, just with an open, neutral state to receive what is there, to listen to people, to be just there. Like, it's a very neutral state, how to describe it.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful life state of receiving, and that is what I was coming to. This is a room full of so much awareness, so much self-awareness. And of course, you've all come charged up, feeling a certain way, and then I think Rohit made that presence and that life state happen for you all. Thank you. So for the uninitiated, we keep using the word self-awareness, right? What is self-awareness? It's about knowing how you're feeling, what you're thinking, what your thoughts are. And it's the foundational skill for coaching. Because I think most of us in this room are coaches, some leaders in different areas. Coaching as a process is about, if I were to say that it's a flow chart, what is it? Awareness first, evoking awareness first, isn't it? And later on, you get into realization, acknowledgement. We somehow support our client getting there. So I'm talking from the coach's perspective. But from the individual's perspective, your client perhaps, or your team member, there's self-awareness for you as a coach. How aware are you? How emotionally intelligent are you as a coach? Self-awareness will lead you to awareness about your client. That's basic empathy, right? And you'll be able to manage yourself better. Managing your relationship, self-management, and all of that. I'm just going over this because just the foundations. And of course, managing our relationships. Because when we are able to manage ourselves and we are aware of the other person, we manage those relationships well. Most of us have heard about this. This is the most commonplace thing that you will now also find on the internet. The point is, I understand self-awareness, I understand empathy, I understand navigating that emotion, I understand self-management. What then? Am I managing relationships or am I managing other people? All of that. So what is really happening in the background? All of this is happening. We are in a great life state right now. We are self-aware, as I can see a room full of very, very self-aware people. And what's really happening? So if I look at it, And before that, it's a myth or a common belief that emotions and rational thinking and IQ are totally different. How many of us come from that belief? Or did we have it at some point? There are two compartments in the head, emotions and rational. IQ, EQ, totally separated. Is that true? It's just one head. I'm like literally the microcosm of the macrocosm, right? Of me and of the entire universe. So how can it be totally different? How can my intelligences of different types be separate from the other? I would urge you to reflect on that. And let's go in a little bit into a little bit of neuroscience to support the concept of EQ and our life state where we started, that is our spiritual being. The cognitive brain, right? This is where stimuli are received. We all know, right? There's stimulus coming to us from the cosmic vastness all the time, anytime. Right now, there's lots of stimulus. I'm doing that. There's other stuff happening. Perhaps your thoughts are doing that. So there's stimulus from the cosmic vastness all the time. What happens? Oops, I'm so sorry. Upar? Sorry. Is this okay? Can you all hear me? So, yeah, now this stimuli, where does it go? It goes into some part of our brain, right? The cognitive stimuli from the cognitive brain passes it to the limbic system. And that's where our emotions are stored. Because the limbic system is going to perceive threat or no threat and all of those things. That processing happens here. Cortisol is released here. We feel the way we feel. And you know, there's a science behind it, right? That hormone is released. That emotion is felt for a few seconds. But we choose to carry it throughout our lives sometimes. Isn't it? Now, threat, reward, what is going to happen? What happens then? It's going to trigger your response, correct? And that's what, and where are memories saved? This is what is conditioning our responses. The memories are stored here. We remember a certain emotion. In fact, emotions can be conditioned as well. We are conditioned to perhaps feel a certain way when a similar incident or situation happens. Would you agree with me? I would love to hear from all of you. How is it that some people feel the same way in a similar situation and others feel differently? Am I off the track? Yeah, pattern. My thoughts, the patterns of my emotions, the patterns of my thoughts are all going to determine the patterns of my behavior. Correct? That's what is bringing us to this model that all of us who studied EQ at 6 seconds learned. Right, Andrea? So it sums it up so beautifully. When you think, it's your cognitive brain at work. You always have thoughts, right? All the time, sometimes even while we are sleeping. Sometimes during meditation. The only difference is when you learn meditation, deep meditation, you're told, observe the thoughts and let them go. You don't act on those thoughts in that moment. But the thoughts are happening all the time. That's your cognitive brain working. So, given that the limbic system also receives information from the cognitive brain, the way we filter things through the brain's limbic system is how we're going to feel about it. right? Our emotions, how we feel, what hormones are generated at that time, all of that. Now the point is, I think a certain way, I feel a certain way. You might think the same way and feel the same way, but what happens? There is some wiring within that will make you respond differently. And where is that wiring? I think the best way to describe that wiring is to really go down that identity iceberg. Because your environment, the choices you make, the values you have, all of that is going to determine your action, your behavior. Correct? So what are we looking at here? That thinking, feeling, action is a continuum. It's a pattern for everyone. Would some of you like to add something here before we go to the next slide? Sure.
Is it possible that the same time cortisol and dopamine, they get secreted?
Yeah.
Like for example, I remember in my childhood, whenever I was posed with a question, I think what was getting secreted was cortisol.
Okay.
In my childhood. Now I think it has reverted. I see that as an opportunity to contribute. So it's more of dopamine. But when I think even more deep, and I participate in the public speaking contest, particularly when you don't get a topic in advance, which is impromptu, you have to speak. So there is, I think, that cortisol also. That threat also is there, and reward. So that's what is actually curious to know. Is it possible to have both?
It is also about how you are managing that, navigating that. Let's say, before standing here speaking to all of you, I may have been anxious.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I may have been anxious, and some anxiety is good anxiety. You want to excel, you want to really do whatever you want to do, since you spoke about public speaking. What are you feeling, and how you manage that, how you navigate that emotion, that is the trick. That is what emotions are, emotional intelligence is. I would say, in a nutshell, that's what it is all about. You will feel. Now, let me go a little deeper into this. You feel a certain way. As you said, maybe it's anxiety, and anxiety is a very complex emotion. It could be, it's multiple emotions going into it. It could be fear, it could be fear of the unknown, it could be change, anything. What's happening at that time? I acknowledge and I'm aware, I realize, and I'm acknowledging that I am anxious. What action do I take at that time? It doesn't have to be an external action. That is my introspection, that is my reflection, and how I manage that emotion and thoughts, how I work on myself. You know, the point is, we are often told, you've got to change this. The next question is, but kya change karu? I can't change my entire being, right? So unless you are able to, it all goes back to that self-awareness. And that is excellent awareness that you're talking about here, right? That I feel this, I feel both. I'm pulled in different directions. Maybe I'm pulled in a direction that, yeah, this is going to be a great session, but I'm so anxious that I want to run out of the door, right? It can be multiple things at the same time, sorry. So how do I manage it? And the real word, honestly, is navigate it. Correct? And that's an emotional intelligence, that's a competency. Because what else will you do? We feel all the time. We feel all the time. And then, so many of us, perhaps, would have grown up with instructions about leaving emotions outside the door. Emotions don't matter. Just be logical. Go ahead. Don't be scared about your exam. Bas karna hai. Those kind of things. So that is conditioning. But I feel what I feel, right? So I cannot leave my emotions outside the door.
Correct.
In fact, I'll go ahead and say this as well, that we are often told that coaches do not listen to emotion. Really, then what are we listening for is my question. We are sitting in front of a human being. What they say is coming out from emotion, how they feel, how they think, how they act. We can't ignore emotions. What we do about it, how we explore it, how we acknowledge it, it is there. And emotions are not some wishy-washy thing, right? They are data, hardcore data about how I'm feeling. And the one thing that I picked up in my first session when I was beginning to really delve into the world of EQ, my teacher, my guru, used one term at the beginning of the session, and that was emotions drive people and people drive performance. That's the 6 seconds theory. Because think about it, each one of us, why are we here? We feel a certain way. He's just come back from the Kumbh. He's tired, but he feels something about attending Raga. Please sit down, please. He feels something about this. That's why he's here. His emotion is driving him. Right? Yeah, sure.
Sandhya, what about a time when we are feeling certain emotions, but there is a huge fear of conflict because of which you suppress that emotion, because that fear is also an emotion.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
And the logical and the feeling part of us tells us something, it's aligned, but
and there is a conflict between those two.
Yeah, we act in a way which is totally contrary to it.
Yep.
So are we managing things there? What are we doing?
Give me 2 minutes. I'm going to talk about conflict as we go on, because that is one of the things that is happening, whether it's at home or at work or our decision-making skills. Conflict within, conflict outside. It's happening all the time, right? Yeah?
So just a thought. So somewhere in the middle of each of these sections between think, feel, act, and act, think, my sense is that there is context.
Yeah?
Because as like you mentioned, as a child, something makes me nervous because my context has been, I was not exposed to that thing, I had no experience with it, but as I've grown older,
I've worked on it.
I've worked on it, I've had experience with it, my context has changed.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if a big part of coaching is helping people evolve their context.
Absolutely. That's when I talk about listen to the coach's emotion. Right? Today, as I stand here, can any one of you imagine that in my preteens, I was a hanky-chewing, nail-biting preteens person? But here I am, talking to a room full of people and talking for the last I don't know how many years of my adult life. The point is, someone worked with me on it. That was my mom, my coach, and my biology teacher. And these people somehow brought out the best in me, because language skills were there. So they recognized it. So I mean, coaching wasn't formal, but they were my coaches. So yeah, there is context and how you navigate it. So would it be now correct to say, if we just wipe out all the previous emotional intelligence definitions that we've had, would it be correct to say that emotional intelligence is a set of competencies, I can't get into the competencies right now, that allows you to apply thinking and feeling to make optimal decisions? How does that sound? We are merging. Yeah. We are not segregating either. We are saying I've got to make a decision. Rational, emotional, all of that is details. Yes, we understand all of that when we study the subject. But for me as a coach, perhaps, or me as a leader, somebody leading a team, working within or outside of teams, personal relationships. Am I able to Look at perspective. Am I able to empathize with my spouse or my children or whatever they are saying? I know that they're not thinking like me. They may not even be feeling like me. But do I see perspective? Social awareness, right? So I think, I feel, and I respond. It's a, what comes first? It's a continuum, right? Any thoughts before we get into conflict? Yeah, Pradanya.
It's very interesting, has been my observation, and maybe some of you guys would also. You know, whether it's in training facilitation or in coaching, and I do it more in group facilitation.
yeah.
You know, you call a timeout to get people to pause, like how you did with us, and to say, and you ask, I just asked 2 questions. What are you thinking and what are you feeling, right? Have you noticed that people use thinking words to describe what they're feeling?
Yes.
We don't have vocabulary to even describe feeling. I mean, inside out can be a great learning solution.
That up. I'm so glad you brought that up, because can you give a mic at the back? Because self-awareness it just doesn't happen. I'm feeling good, I'm feeling bad, I'm feeling low, not so great, but what is that real emotion? Is it anxiety, really? Or is it concern? Or is it worry? Or is it something else? Or is it fear? But have you seen how we are conditioned to use the word anxiety all the time in today's age? That's what's coming from the internet and every behavioral this thing. Label, put into a box, and the world starts aligning with those emotions, right? So, talking about, oh, I'm so sorry. Someone there wanted to say something.
I actually just wanted to add to what she said.
Yeah.
In fact, it happens to me also sometimes, despite all this awareness, is that confusion between feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
We use that interchangeably.
Yeah.
Right?
And the thought.
Yes. So very often when we are working with the client, it's sometimes a struggle for them to identify what's the emotion behind the feeling. Right.
So, most people can't identify the feeling, they can't identify the emotion. And we've got a booth here. I would invite all of you to come. We've got a game there, we've got an emotion tree there, and some activity there. So let's identify our emotions there. That's a fantastic point you've got. That's the lack of awareness sometimes, and the conditioning that is working.
So when we are self-aware, there's a distinction that we make between responding and reacting. So when we are talking to our clients, the minute they get self-aware, I realize that they want to not react but respond.
Absolutely.
What's
so
your
see,
take
that's
on
the
that?
shift. That's the shift.
Right.
Managing yourself, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Then they navigate that emotion, and therefore their response is different.
Yeah. That's really
the
worked
fourth
in
quadrant.
favor, right.
That's the fourth quadrant.
Thank you.
All right, so let's say, and this is coming from, we all take assessments and all of that. So some of these influencing styles are very common, right? All of you who would have taken assessments and all of that. Now, primarily, whether a person is responsive or not responsive, whether they are assertive or not assertive, broadly 4, and this can spread into much more, right? 8, 16, or whatever. Analytical, driver, amiable, expressive. And I would really love it if you urge you all to write down where you think you are. Sometimes it can be a blend of, am I here, am I there? Let's explore how this is working for us. Low responsiveness, and the person is a driver, sitting in a car, driving everything, and is result focused, is a straight talker, very, very goal oriented, and tends to tell. Think about it as a coach or a leader. As a leader, tends to tell, and that is, now, if you're a leader, if you're working somewhere, or as a coach, you can be any of these, right? All of us, right? We are not, coaches are human after all. So, what do? How are we, and somebody who's expressive. We tend to feel that somebody is very expressive and they're expressing their emotions, but you know what? They also tell. They also tell. They like to be the center, sometimes hearing the sound of their own voice. They are opinionated. None of these are bad traits or good traits. They are just, you know, an individual. All of us coaches know. An individual is just who they are. That's their wiring. That's coming from, all of these responses are coming from that, can I say, the identity iceberg, their values, their commitments, I mean, if someone's fought very hard internally within themselves to change something, maybe, you know, if we are talking about a nail-biting, not so confident person, and when you want to change that, you might just move to the other side. So it's not good or bad. You've somehow wanted to be that. And what about, so this is all about high assertiveness. Then there is the low assertiveness. They are maybe team players, unselfish, people-oriented, and some of these traits. Sorry?
That's the next room actually. They're having some music being played there.
No problem. It has to be interactive. I can't be the sage on stage, right? No problem. And then there is the analytical. They say Virgos are very analytical. I don't know about that. And perfectionists, very, very task-oriented, systematic, well-organized. Where am I? I would urge you to think about this and then plot yourself on one of these quadrants, or perhaps two, where you feel you might be switching. Maybe in our personal relationships and personal environment, we are a certain way, very amiable, but outside a driver, or the other way around, correct? It can happen, isn't it? Let's watch this video and see if you can find yourself there. Or somebody you know. Volume kar dijiye. Tez. Two big guys, huh? Super conflict. Somebody inconsequential has been thrown away. Height of conflict now. at every level, right? Wow. Jump over the other. Do you see yourself or somebody or your work environment there? So what do you think? What are the emotions at play here when you're working or coaching? As a coach, we could be analytical or amiable or expressive quickly before I'm pushed out of the room. All of us will be. Rohit, 2 minutes. Any thoughts? Where do you think? What is happening here? What did you see in these videos? Mike.
Is it like a teamwork? In coordination, team coordination?
Yeah, but there's conflict as well. Hmm. Yeah. 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 So there was, you know, although they were putting their heads together and roaring and screaming, that may not manifest in the physical, but it's happening in the head, right? In your thoughts, you're like, I'll do this and I'll do that, and I'm going to tell this person this. All of that is happening in the head. It's our thoughts.
It's also about becoming solution-oriented.
Yeah, look at that little fellow. Let these guys fall, but he didn't bargain for somebody else coming in and creating conflict with him.
That shows empathy and integrity.
Yes.
And find out the solution.
Right, absolutely.
Sandhya, the shift is from competing to collaborating. In the initial part, that was competing in that conflict, and later it shifted to the
Under
collaborating.
pressure. Under pressure, they collaborated.
They collaborated.
So
that's
much
what is happening with
there.
us. We have evolved over time.
Yeah,
Earlier we used to compete a lot, at least I used to compete a lot. Now there is more of collaboration, sometimes even compromise. I don't mind accommodating also at times.
Perfect. So that is a growth pattern.
I would, sorry to come in the paucity of time, I would request we'll have to halt taking more questions. We have a little bit more to cover, please, if that's okay. So sorry, but we'll otherwise be kicked out of the room. You can all, Sandhya is here post the session. Please feel free to ask any questions that you have post the session. She's going to be here.
I'll stay in this room. I'm so happy about that, right? So there's more. What have we just done today? We started with a fantastic life state. We spoke about our emotions. And if we are coaches, we've covered all of the competencies. We've spoken about all of that. So there's lots of work I've done in this area, created my own style of coaching and mentoring, right, Alisha? And always driven. Mentoring also, they keep hearing all about emotions. So you'll find this in my book. You can pre-book right now, and of course, we can be connected.
It's available on Amazon, so you can actually make an order while
Pre-order.
Pre-order.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Amazon allows pre-order only on Kindle.
So we can have a good round of applause for that. That's the surprise announcement she had to make.
Yeah, this is the scan code is here, and it's also out there on my stall, but on my booth. Thanks. Sure. Just scan it, and the code is important. Why? Because since I have a global audience, it's not only on Amazon.in. And that's why this scanned thing, this code, this link is important for you to get there. Right? It's a global thing, and this is what will get you to the Indian site. Thank you all, and thank you so much for being so authentic, and there's lovely discussions here. Thank you.
We'll just have Veda taking over and just summarizing some key takeaways and points.
Let's have a big round of applause for Sandhya, guys.
Thank you.
We clearly needed more of this, Sandhya, but since in the interest of time,
Yeah,
we had to wrap
absolutely.
up. But a very beautiful takeaway for all of us that, you know, coaching is, or leading or coaching without emotional intelligence is like hearing your music without emotions, right? For me personally, as a coach now, the takeaway, Sandhya, is that it's not just about tools or frameworks or asking questions, right? It's about presence. It's about how you can empower somebody and not rescue them. How you can think beyond the words that they are talking about, right? And if we have, you know, that this transformation, I feel it happens after listening to Sandhya's session, is that if we have our heart, our mind and soul in place, we can transform lives. You know, if there is a synergy of three elements, the neuroscience, the emotional intelligence, and the spirituality, we can transform from good coaches to extraordinary. So thank you so much, Sandhya, for this beautiful session.
Thanks
in the interest of the time, we could not take more questions, so, but there is a gift for you, and I would like Sandhya to pick two people who are some good questions to take the discussion forward. So we have two goodies. If you can pick Sandhya and, you know, share it with them.
Yes, please. No, too many, nahi. Lots of questions. Lots of questions. Thank you. Shadow, I guess.
Let's keep clapping, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope to chat with you after this. Their head, whatever you have in your head, let's articulate that after this or over lunch.
Just pick more, pick one more, Sandhya.
Can I give it to Pradnya?
Up to you, up to you.
I wish that we had more mugs.
We have bookmarks, so anybody who's asked even a single question, can you just raise your hand? I just come and give the bookmarks to everybody. These are ICF bookmarks. All of you who have asked a question, can you raise your hand?
Also, I would encourage all of you to please take pictures of this session, tag it on your social media handles, tag each other, tag ICF 30 Raga Fest, and that will create ripples, and that's the reason we are here for.
Anybody interested in these?
Okay, let's wrap the session. I would like to in order to honor our speaker, I would like to call Radhakant Jaiswal ji, the president of ICF Delhi NCR chapter, to please honor Sandhya and the valuable insights she shared with us today. Huge round of applause.
Thank you. This is so pretty. Thank you. Thank you.
And a big thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Sandhya. And a big thank you, the audience, for being so engaging. I think you made this session a big success. So we cannot go without a picture with you. I would like to invite all of you here with a, let's take a group picture. And again, I'll reiterate the same thing. Have a group picture, post it on Insta and on LinkedIn, and create the ripple we are here for. Please come on the stage and let's have a group picture.
इसको बंद कर देते हैं ना, और we can get it to the same original slide.
वो black कर दो, आपका वो क्या mark का?
नहीं नहीं नहीं
नहीं जरूरत नहीं है, वो black हो गया.